Obviously, the past few weeks have been full of talk and discussion about Amazon's Lord of the Rings, because leading up to the reveal of this teaser trailer, a lot of rumors were out there. A lot of things were being said about what would happen in the Rings of Power series, what they might do to Galadriel, certain things that they would change with Tolkien lore in terms of how characters and how certain species may look. And we saw that. We saw the black female beardless dwarf. We saw a black elf. We saw Galadriel in her armor. All these things that people were not really ready to see, the general audiences, because it flies so contrary to some of the things that Tolkien described in his books. Well, now you have the media out there that is constantly now talking about this and trying to put a spin on certain things. And this article from, what is this, CBR, is no different. Amazon's Wheel of Time and Rings of Power may have the same issue, but it's not the one that they think. Now, I do agree that Amazon's Wheel of Time and Lord of the Rings is likely going to have the same issue. It's going to be the fact that they didn't stick to the source material, that they went so far departed from something that people love, an IP that people actually do truly care about. So when I saw Disbrew make a video on this, I had to kind of look at this article and laugh, because the idea that this writer would draw the parallels between Amazon's Wheel of Time and what's going to happen with Rings of Power, that they may have the same issue, but have the wrong issue stated, you're insane if you actually can't realize this. Amazon's original series get massive budgets to work with, but many fans believe the costumes and sets don't reflect this. This is an article talking about the outfits and how they look. Do you really think that that's where this backlash is coming from? 55,000 dislikes on the UK trailer, 155,000 dislikes on the American Prime Video trailer. It's only 100K upvotes. These are getting destroyed, not simply because some people don't think the costumes look great, because of the clear agenda that's gone into this and the disrespect for Tolkien's universe. That's the bottom line. That's what's going on here. But if you listen to these writers at CBR, they think it's something completely different. There's one common problem that persists. Many fans have noticed, despite having massive budgets, both the costumes and the set on the shows seem to be lacking. Really? Like, I don't think they look particularly incredible, but I don't even think we've seen enough to really make too hard of a judgment. But I mean, come the fuck on. That's not what most people are worried about. Wheel of Time had a great cast and amazing storytelling. Even the special effects were pretty great, but the sets and costumes left much to be desired. Rings of Power looks like it'll be a vast story bound to expand the lore. If you mean rewrite the lore, I agree, of the Tolkien universe. The cast seems strong, but fans have concerns about costumes looking too new or out of place. This has led to some backlash, but it hasn't diminished the excitement for upcoming series for most fans. How can you say it hasn't diminished the excitement for most fans? It looks like most fans don't like this. It looks like most fans have a problem with what you're doing, but CBR is trying to spin this ridiculous tale. And I think something that you can look at and point to and realize where they should be going, why they should be trying to stay true to the lore and true to the characters. You can look at something else on Amazon, Reacher. Now, I think that Reacher was a good show. I don't think it's a masterpiece by any means, but I like the show, and I think that for the most part, it stuck very true to the source material, which is a book from Lee Child, one of many books in the Jack Reacher series. This one specifically is called Killing Floor. And as a result, you saw massive ratings for Reacher. It became the most viewed Amazon series of all time, way higher than Wheel of Time in the given week that it got released. So that should tell you there's a template right there, guys. And they even, like, get this, how can you have one company that's doing things so drastically different, right? You have Reacher, where they literally put out a short showing from page to screen. Now, this is a minute-long clip of Lee Child, who is the writer of the Jack Reacher novels, who was an executive producer in this. He actually made a cameo in this series as well, reading parts of his book and them showing what's going on, what they did to bring it to life, even down to the details in a diner, the way that it's set up and the way that it looks. Watch this.
The diner was small but bright and clean, brand new, built to resemble a converted railroad car. Narrow, with a long lunch counter on one side and a kitchen bumped out back, booths lining the opposite wall. A doorway where the center booth would be.
A doorway where the center booth would be, like literally everything they're describing about just the diner from the opening scene in the book and in this series. That's how focused they were to this.
Police! Don't move! Don't move! Don't move! Don't move!
Long experience had taught me that absolute silence is the best way.
Sasquatch don't talk, and passport don't even Jack Reacher.
Say something, and it can be misheard, misunderstood, misinterpreted. It can get you convicted. It can get you killed. Silence upsets the arresting officer. He has to tell you silence is your right, but he hates it if you exercise that right.
What the hell are you doing in my town?
I was being arrested for murder, but I said nothing.
So that's literally a short that they did. Like, that's a short that they did to show how true to the books that they stayed with this series, or that they tried to stay with this series. And as a result, what happened? Reacher, which I would say Wheel of Time is probably a bigger franchise in general than Reacher, and people thought it was going to be bigger. There was more name, notoriety there. Reacher dominates it in the ratings, becomes the highest rated thing in Amazon history, right? Like, how is that? Like, that is insane. It's Amazon's biggest hit, boasting Netflix-sized viewership numbers because they stayed true to the source material. But now CBR is talking about, they might have the same issue, but it has nothing to do with disrespecting the source material. Everyone can see the agenda that's at play, and everyone can see that the problem that Wheel of Time had and the problem that Amazon will have with Lord of the Rings is that they're not sticking to the source material. That's all people want. That's why people like this in the first place. They like the series because they're fans of it. They don't want people to go change it. They want you to do something that's true to it. That's why they're fans in the first place. And honestly, that's why you should be making these things with that name on it, is for those people. We'll see what the problem is going forward with the Rings of Power. Shockingly, I think we're going to end up being right and not this CBR article. Thanks for watching, everyone. And a huge shout out to my patrons. I appreciate you guys so much. Want to follow me on Twitter or Instagram? Check out the description below. You'll find links to my P.O. box and my Patreon as well. And I'll talk to you guys later.